I think if we look back at Jerry's history as the coach of the Cowboys, he will tell you, and he has said this publicly, that one of his biggest mistakes was firing Chan Gailey. Well, he didn't really fire Jimmy. Jimmy left on his own accord, and I don't believe that if Jimmy had really wanted to stay, that would have happened at all. But at any rate, he fired Chan Gailey and felt like he shouldn't have done that. He did go through a series of coaches. I will say this: just because you're firing coaches doesn't mean you're doing the right thing.
Correct.
It doesn't mean that we want to.
You can be just like you said. Bud Adams fired coaches left and right. It didn't mean he was right.
No, and so to me, when we talk about what
where do you
what is Jerry's motivation?
Patience and stagnancy.
Well, I think what we got here. I think you just made up a word. Stagnation, I think, is what you were going for.
Let me
is that?
Let me see if that's another word in my made-up vocabulary.
Yeah. Is this? What is the motivating factor for Jerry? I'll tell you what the motivating factor for Jerry is that he wants to win a Super Bowl without Jimmy Johnson. I think that drives Jerry. I don't think that Jerry sits back and thinks, you know what, I don't really care as much about winning now. I'm making a lot of money. Jerry's going to make a lot more money if he's winning. If he's going to a Super Bowl, they're going to make even more money than they're making. And nothing is more important to Jerry than making money.
Stagnancy is an adjective.
An adjective, huh? Okay, yeah. So at any rate, my point is that I think that Jerry, if he felt like they were going to win, if I fired Jason Garrett and hired another coach, we're going to win, then he'd do it. He's just not sure of that.
So what do you think it is? Has he lost his fire, or has is he just like you said?
Why would you say
I don't have a better idea?
What is there about fire? I don't understand that argument. That first of all, he's got 14,000 things going on in his life. I think he sleeps about 4 hours a night. He's got more energy than I have. Why is it we think that you got fired if you're firing coaches? The people,
not that you're firing coaches, but we're now talking about going on 9 years.
But what's the flip side? Everybody says, why doesn't he fire Jason Garrett? That must mean he doesn't care anymore. Why does that? I don't understand that. It'd be easy for him to fire Jason Garrett.
Right.
It's not his son. He can fire Jason Garrett anytime he wants to. And the problem is, do I find the right head coach the next time? I think that people say about Jerry, they make Jerry more sinister than he really is. Look, he's a guy who wanted to win. He hired Jimmy Johnson. He made a great first hire as a head coach. They couldn't get along. He wanted credit. He did push the issue with Jimmy. Had he not been so pushy, Jimmy probably would have stayed a little longer. I don't think a lot longer. I think he would have stayed another couple of years anyway. But he wouldn't have been the head coach of the Cowboys for 20 years.
He would not. Yeah, he would not be. He wasn't going to be Tom Landry.
No, that wasn't going to happen. So then he goes through this series of coaches where he clearly looks back and thinks, look at his history of coaches since then, right? Barry Switzer, that wasn't a great hire. He had Chan Gailey. Maybe his second best hire certainly at that time he was. And then we had Dave Campo, not a great hire, although he was in a really bad situation. They were in cap hell, and so he had to pay.
Why were they in cap hell?
So they had to pay for all that. And then he had Bill Parcells.
Bill Parcells
Certainly was a great coach, but kind of Bill. Now there's a guy kind of out of gas, if you ask me, when he got here. And then we had Wade Phillips, and then we have Garrett. So it's not an overwhelming series of head coaches. And I think that what Jerry thinks is that if I thought I could get Sean Payton, he would take Sean Payton in a second.
Do you think he's lost faith? Both of you guys, do you think he's lost faith in his ability to find a better solution?
I don't know that he would ever admit that he couldn't do anything.
I don't care what he'll admit.
Wait a minute. Well, I like I just said, if he could get Sean Payton to come into my, he would no.
Sean
Payton.
Sean Payton's been to Super Bowls.
It doesn't matter. No, the point is that you say he won't make a change. He doesn't care. He would. He knows that Sean Payton's a great coach. He would fire Jason Garrett today if Sean Payton would come coach the Cowboys.
Guys, you're not going to go out and hire a Super Bowl coach unless it's Mike McCarthy, who's been fired after a downturn. You're not going to hire a Super Bowl coach in the prime. And so what I'm saying is, does Jerry have faith in himself that he can go out and identify
why couldn't he get a Super Bowl?
Payton?
I don't know that any coach has confidence in. I mean, any owner has a confidence in that. How do you
David?
know?
David?
I don't know that he lacks the faith to do it. I think he sees the positives in Jason Garrett and invested this time in him, and he wants it to succeed rather than. I think it's going to be difficult for him to acknowledge he won't get the level of success he wants with Jason, and he hasn't come to that point yet. And this year, to me, was another example. If you flipped how this year went, if this team would have started by winning
Started hot
the first
and
9
then
games, and then faded at the end, and then won a home game and then lost the way they did to the Rams, I think there would have been a coaching change. There wasn't a coaching change because you had that flipped. They started off 3-5,
Right.
finished strong, and so even if your inclination early in the year was, you know what, I'm going to have to make a change this year. We're not where we want to be. Even if you went into this year, and I believe this was the case, even if you went into this year believing that, you know what, to see tangible movement here, tangible improvement, this team needs to get to an NFC championship game.